Not that many years ago, by example, when networks covered political conventions, they began at, say, 6 o'clock in the evening, and they stayed on until the end of the convention that evening. It was called gavel to gavel, from the opening gavel to the closing gavel. And if that meant they stayed on until 12 midnight or 3 a.m., it didn't matter. They stayed on. And within CBS, because of Cronkite, it was everyone else plus 30. What did that mean? That meant that Cronkite insisted that CBS would stay on 30 minutes longer than everyone else in order for those who cared about the coverage or those who cared about the event, they would come to CBS, and CBS was always there. So any event, whether it was a special event, a presidential event, a news, whatever it was everyone else plus 30. And that was set by Cronkite, by old Iron Pants. Because once he took the anchor chair, he never got up. I mean, he never got up. He didn't get up to eat. He didn't get up to go to the bathroom. He didn't get up. He sat there and anchored the coverage longer and better than anyone else. And oftentimes when they would build the anchor set for him, get this is sort of the power that he would have. They would raise the anchor set up so that underneath there could be a cadre of producers, all of whom had briefing books, usually 2-3 inches thick, with every possible fact. And what they would do is Cronkite was sitting there, they'd be down beneath him handing him paper to give him something interesting to say. He consistently built a team, but he demanded of that team not just loyalty, but this incredible work product. Because he knew that he was at the center of that, he was the presenter of that, but he also demanded of everyone else that they support him in such a way. He didn't try to do it all himself, but rather he relied on all of this additional content that he could not possibly have remembered or mustered on his own. So understanding who he was becomes paramount, where he came from, what he inherited. There really was no CBS television news, no substantial CBS television news prior to his arrival. There was a 15-minute show, but now, of course, they expanded to 30 minutes. He set the tone of the news that you and I, anyone would see today, at least on one of the major networks. He guarded his reputation. He was fierce about it. Success, ultimately, for reporters and producers became synonymous with the Cronkite brand, with being part of Walter's team, with working for the evening news. And all of that becomes interesting if you extrapolate that out. What's the takeaway for you? Cronkite is viewed as this guardian of modern journalism, deservedly or not. He was great to the audience. He was not always so wonderful internally. The question becomes, how do you use this kind of information? Like starting now, how do you use it as you're driving home? How do you use it this summer? How will you manage yourselves? I mean, I can tell you, it isn't all about being motivational. It's sometimes about being tough. It isn't always about being funny. As editors with lots of skills, you could go back to your schools and you could do all the work yourselves. Some of you probably might or might try. Some of you might work longer hours or work harder than anyone else, and probably you may rightfully gripe about that too. That's not necessarily the most successful model. I mean, at least I'm not sure it's the most successful model to do all the work, all the heavy lifting yourself. The question becomes, what kind of leaders would you be? What's your brand going to be? Out here in Silicon Valley, if you ask somebody or a company what they want to be known for, I mean, you would not believe some of the BS that you get. The company would, even the largest of company, like a Hewlett-Packard or a Cisco, which have tens of thousands of employees, and they move like dinosaurs just simply because of their size and their scope. But if you ask somebody, well, what are you known for? They'll say, well, we're known for being nimble and agile. They're hardly either of those words. It's something they might want to be because it reflects their ability to change, their ability to react and respond, their ability to be engaged with their audiences or with their customers. Truth is, they're dinosaurs. They're hardly nimble. They're hardly agile. So how do you guys want to present yourselves is the question. How do you want to be presented to how do you want your staffs to see you? How do you want the school to see you? What kind of editors will you be? What's your brand going to be? How will you articulate that to others? How will you even articulate that to yourselves? How would you like to be perceived? How would you like to be known within the school community? Not just as, I'm the editor, I'm smart. Smart doesn't make it, guys. Smart's nice. Smart's not the end all. How would you like, what's your brand? What would you be known for? Anyone have some adjectives or thoughts? Yeah, shout it out.
Resourceful and logical.
Resourceful, give me the second word.
Logical.
Logical, okay, those are good. Anyone else? We have one leader there. Who else has a thought? Yes.
Like successful at like what I do, and like not looking dumb.
Not looking dumb is always a very good thing. Successful, though. What do you mean by successful? And then the young lady in blue right behind you. Successful is one of those words that's like punching jello. You know, it just sort of wiggles there. Give me more.
Like doing a good job with the paper, I guess, or like just making it be a success so that people like actually want to read it because they know that it's well done.
Okay, so that you'll have good stories and people would want to do it. The young lady in blue and then the lady in front.
Like motivating writers and like other editors to basically like do their job.
Motivating as opposed to
like just letting them do whatever they're going to do and picking up the slack when they don't.
Motivating other than having them feeling like you're herding cats because they're going every which way. Okay, in front.
Reliable and dedicated.
Reliable is a lot like resourceful. Dedicated implies a lot about how much you're going to work. What about leading? How might you lead others? Is it about forcing them, cajoling them, persuading them? Teaching, yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Other thoughts?
Go ahead.
Leading by example.
Yeah? But leading by example has a hook to it, because leading by example means you may have to work 15 hours while everyone else is working 2. Leading by example might mean that they rely on you as opposed to relying on themselves. You're guiding them to do better work themselves. Any other thoughts? Yes, by all means.
Leading with like mutual respect.
Yeah, mutual respect is huge too. The takeaway from Cronkite includes things like, yeah, he did work harder than anyone else. He did work longer. He did insist on people doing their best work. He shared the credit, though, as well. He insisted that management give credits at the end of a program to everyone who was on that show, who worked in any capacity on that show.